contradictions actually were what Freddie Mercury was all about. He was two different people, as far as I could tell when I first met him. And I was very nervous of meeting him, having seen him perform on the stage for 80,000 people. He'd hold them in the palm of his hand. He'd seem like the most enormous character out there. The very first time I stood in the wings on a stage and saw him come off after a show, he seemed to reduce in size. He seemed to go down to about half the size of the Freddie I'd seen out there. It was quite the most incredible thing. He was a performer, he was larger than life. He'd come off the stage, he'd take the stardom off the way you take off an overcoat, and he'd just be back down to a normal guy again. Completely not a star. He'd say, you know, I'm not a celebrity, darling, I'm just a musician. And that's who he was off stage. Bohemian Rhapsody was the most extraordinary rock song of all time. I think it still is. What it did was it fused rock and roll with opera. Nobody had ever done anything like this before. And it opened the doors for collaborations between all styles of music. Freddie was the first person to think of doing this. The rest of the band thought he was mad. So Brian May, Roger Taylor, John Deacon actually all said, this is the most ridiculous piece of music we've ever heard. I must have interviewed more than 100 new people for this book, and I found out a lot of surprising things. I thought I knew Freddie pretty well. I'd been on the road with Queen 4 times. I'd got to know Freddie backstage. I played Scrabble with him. I got drunk with him. You know, you kind of think you have a handle on a person, but only those people who shared his life, who lived in his home with him in London, could really shed light on what he was like behind closed doors. I think people like to know what drove a songwriter. Where were the inspirations coming from? What was going on in his mind? What kind of childhood and background did he have? What were the influences on him growing up? We want to paint a picture of the true Freddie. This is the Freddie we knew.